I think there's a sense of place to Montana, which is unique, meaning that if you're raised here, I mean, yeah, I live in the governor's mansion right now, but I delivered newspapers to that place growing up. And there's, wherever I've been in these 47 years, there's always a sense of place that I think is unique to our state. Specific areas, you can go 20 miles north of Helena and be on the Missouri River, a place where Lewis and Clark came down as they were exploring the West. I was a tour boat driver out there for years. Every summer was spent out on the Missouri River. And there's a long way to say, I guess, there's so many just wonderful parts of Montana. I couldn't have imagined raising my kids anywhere else, because Montana gave me not only incredible public education so that I could do whatever I wanted, an incredible level of not confidence, but just sense of self, because Helena was a community and the state's a community where we're more apt to look one another in the eye, smile, stop it, as you're trying to cross a street, and a level of, I guess, connection that I do think is unique.
Can you describe for us how the Montana politics has changed over the years?
If you say over the years, at one time Montana was more or less captured by a few copper companies. And this was 100 years ago. We passed the Corrupt Practices Act of 1912. We really took elections back, so the people actually ran government, and it really was ours. I think sort of a populist yet libertarian stream has been a lot of what Montana has been all throughout. Now, where we are today, too, is my legislature is almost 2/3 Republican. We're, in some respects, a red state, but 4 of the 5 statewide office holders are Democrats. Our 2 U.S. senators are Democrats. So I think that we really are. We have an independent streak where we still really look at who the people are and what they want to accomplish, as opposed to just sort of straight the party mandates.
What do you think changed?
I mean, I think what's changed over time, and almost, I guess, the more immediacy, it's not just limited to Montana. It's, as you've had more and more outside dollars coming in, as you've had more of sort of the influences, it's changing the political system, which is unfortunate. Because we're still a state where a state legislature, I mean, they meet 90 days every 2 years. The most important thing is not how much money they raise, but how many people they talk to, how many times they actually go door to door. So that piece is still staying, constant, yet it is endangered. Our legislature at times has gone back and forth. It wasn't that long ago that one of our houses was Democratic. So I don't think that we've changed that much in many respects. I mean, we framed the overall, what I want to do as governor is better jobs, better educational system, more effective government. Because part of what I am is working on job creation. I know that education's a big piece of that, but also I'm the CEO of the state government and really being that much more effective. For me, it becomes personal. It's been, I guess, 40 years since kids my age have been in, the kids that I have been in the governor's residence. My oldest is in 6th grade. If I served 2 terms, Caroline would just be getting out of high school when I'm kicked out of the governor's mansion. So it really is, what kind of Montana is she going to have? Are there going to be quality education opportunities at the higher ed level? That's why I've set some benchmarks for what I want to see with the number of degrees. Can she get a good job and stay in Montana so we're not exporting our greatest resource, our talent? And will she enjoy all the quiet places and the ability to hike and fish and hunt that I did growing up? So that's sort of how I've kind of focused on where I want to go with this state.
What are some of the problems facing the state of Montana?
Yeah, I mean, in some respects, when I look at other states, I'm pretty excited about what we're doing here. We made record investments in education this last legislative session. We're probably the only state that fixed a pension system without increasing taxes. We're investing in our university systems. and we did it all with leaving money in the bank. So from that side, good things are happening. I think our challenges are more also opportunities, meaning that you have some incredible resource development going on in eastern Montana, presents great challenges, are opportunities for the state, but challenges with infrastructure and managing populations and things like that. Like any state, maybe even more so Montana, part of it is what do we want to be when we grow up? And there's incredible, our unemployment's 2 points lower than the national average. We're hitting all the great markers, but it's also what more can we be? And in addition to an incredible agriculture industry, incredible tourism industry, with 1 million people, we get about 10 million visitors a year, incredible resource industry. We're also having some just incredible things happen with more of the knowledge-based economy, jobs that didn't exist when I was a kid growing up here. And we need to do all we can that kind of marries the quality of life and the talented workforce to build that sector of our economy. If you looked at just industry sector by industry sector, our number one industry is agriculture. And we grow the finest grains, and produce the best beef in the nation. If you've ever drinking a beer, there's a real good chance that the malting barley actually came right here from Montana. So that's the number one industry by industry sector, followed by our tourism and hospitality. But there really is a lot going on. But people also don't, I joke with my governor friends from the East. I mean, we're 147,000 square miles this state. Many of the smaller eastern states could fit in one of our 56 counties. So we also have great diversity, from wind energy going on in northern Montana to oil and gas in eastern Montana. So some real good things happening.
Can you describe for us or our audience a little bit about the impact of the oil industry here in the state?
Yeah, the first time I met the governor of North Dakota, I asked for a border relocation just because I'd like a little bit of western North Dakota into Montana. So the Bakken Oil Formation is kind of in the northeastern corner of our state. But we're really at the shallow end of the kiddie pool, meaning most of the production is occurring in North Dakota. With that said, though, our economy, my state budget, is not driven by oil and gas revenues. Yet by the same token, it is providing some great opportunities with employment across the state and individuals actually going out to the Bakken area to get work. So I think that Montana is, unique, or will be one of the, when we talk about energy security and really being able to get energy from the United States as opposed to relying on foreign countries, between our oil and gas, between the wind energy, between coal resources, we really are sort of at hopefully what the centerpiece of what energy stability will be for the country.
One of the issues that you're concerned about is DUIs and substance abuse. Can you explain to us a little bit what your position is on that?
Well, it in part came from, so before I was elected governor, I was Attorney General, state's chief lawyer and chief law enforcement officer. I had to go to the funeral of a highway patrol officer who was killed by a drunk driver. And in Montana, I think, the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. We've had a lot of DUI problems, and we'd never tried anything new. So we implemented what I think was a pretty new program to try to say, let's keep people safe throughout this. And with prescription drug abuse, I think we were third per capita in the nation for adolescents abusing prescription drugs. So to really try to get more focus on the fact that part of it is law enforcement, part of it's just education, part of it's supply, to really sort of work on those issues. And those are the kind of things, for both the Attorney General and Governor, when we talk about what kind of communities do we want, what do we want to do, people can come together and get some good work done.
What type of legislation is in front of Congress right now that directly impacts Montana?
Legislation and there are where our challenges are. I think Montanans are better at managing our timber than the feds. So we need to do some things to make sure that we can keep our forests healthy and also sustain the timber mills. So things with public lands can be very important that Congress is dealing with. Things like where we're going to be also providing federal dollars to invest in education can be significantly important. You know, I'd like to think, and that's one of the reasons why we did fare better than, I guess, the nation through the recession, is that there are parts certainly that we're dependent on the federal government, but largely we can also do some great things on our own.